And here's why this matters. It's because we all live in the shadow of death. We don't like to talk about it. We do our best to avoid it. Longevity is all the rage, but that's not actually new. That's been going on a long time. We put it off as long as possible. Even when somebody dies, we don't like to call it death. We have all kinds of other ways to speak about death because death just seems so final. And so when somebody dies, we say, well, they've passed on, they've gone ahead. They're no longer with us. They've kicked the bucket. They bought the farm. They're swimming with the fishes. They're pushing up daisies. They've clocked out. They've logged off. Like, we have a lot of ways to say death without saying death because it just all feels final. But it's not just the physical death that we live in the shadow of. Like, some of you really resonate with Mark and Jocelyn's story because your marriage, if you were honest, has been flatlined for years. Or maybe there's this dream that you poured your life into and you recognize it is on its last breath. Or you have a friendship that's on life support, or maybe it's a relationship with your child that's on life support, or maybe it's just something within you, some hope, some faith, some joy, and you're not sure how to get it back. Because you haven't felt it for a long time, and you're starting to wonder if maybe it's dead, and what you know about death is what dies stays dead until you get to John 20. John chapter 20 is our Easter resurrection passage that we're going to study together here. By the time we get to John 20, it's been 3 days since Jesus' lifeless body has been taken down from the cross, wrapped in burial clothes, placed in a borrowed tomb, a massive stone put in front of the opening. A Roman governor assigns Roman guards to stand in front of the stone. In other words, everything that can be done had been done to make sure that death had the final word. And then we have Easter, verse 1. Early on the first day of the week, while it was still dark, Mary Magdalene went to the tomb and saw that the stone had been removed from the entrance. So picture the scene here. She's coming in the darkness of night, amongst the tombs. A little bit creepy, probably, for her to come by herself. It says, while it was still dark, but what's being described here for Mary is not just this physical reality, it is this emotional and spiritual reality. Like, she is living in darkness, the darkness of grief and the darkness of sorrow, the darkness of shattered hopes, because as she goes to the tomb on that Easter morning, she doesn't know it's Easter. Like, she's not going to celebrate the resurrection, she's going to bring some burial rituals to the body of Jesus that had been rushed 3 days earlier. And each step towards the tomb in the darkness of that morning was a battle against her own grief and this constant thought that is weighing on some of you. Like, this isn't how the story was supposed to go. This isn't the way things are supposed to be. I thought it would be different than this. Just feeling very disillusioned because before meeting Jesus, Mary lived in this prison without walls. She was tormented, her soul, so much so that she lived on the edges of society. She is the kind of person that if you were to see her downtown, you would instinctively kind of look down and cross to the other side of the road. She's the kind of person, if you saw her out, if you're a mom, you'd pull your kids, without even thinking of it, you just pull your kids a little bit closer to you. The women of the village avoided her, the men pretended not to see her. The religious leaders would point and say things like demon-possessed. So before Mary meets Jesus, she is this woman who is dying in plain sight with no hope of rescue and no expectation of healing and no reason to believe that tomorrow is going to be any different than today. And then she meets Jesus and everything changes.